During the Industrial Revolution in glass manufacturing, lens makers finally figured out how to combine different types of glass.
Crown glass and flint glass, right.
Yes, which have different refractive indexes.
So by combining them, they basically forced the scattered colors to bend back into a single sharp focal point.
It essentially canceled out the rainbow effect.
These were called achromatic lenses.
And suddenly, compound microscopes could magnify to incredible depths while retaining crystal clear resolution.
So this hardware upgrade brings us to Germany in the late 1830s, and the timeline finally resumes with a botanist named Matthias Schleiden.
Yes, Schleiden.
With these new achromatic microscopes, Schleiden systematically examines plant life. He looks at roots, stems, leaves, wood,
Everything he can find.
and in 1838 he publishes a massive synthesis of his observations. He says that regardless of the species, whether it's an oak tree or a tiny blade of grass, every single plant is entirely constructed of cells.
It is a sweeping, universal claim about botany. And the very next leap happens almost immediately through a really famous historical collision of disciplines.
This is my favorite part.
Schleiden is dining with his friend Theodor Schwann, who studies animal physiology.
This dinner changes everything. Schleiden is sitting there detailing the microscopic cellular structures he's cataloged in plants, describing the rigid walls and the nuclei.
Just talking shop over dinner.
Right. And Schwann realizes he has been looking at the exact same architectural blueprints in the animal tissues he studies.
The exact same structures.
I look at this dinner conversation less like two mechanics realizing they use the same engine, and more like two cryptographers who have spent their entire careers trying to decode two completely isolated ancient languages.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, one studies botany, the other zoology. They sit down, compare their notes, and suddenly realize that both languages are built on the exact same underlying alphabet.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the impact of that shared alphabet cannot be overstated.
What happens next?
Well, Schwann rushes back to his laboratory, applies Schleiden's criteria to animal tissues, and by 1839, he publishes the proof that all animals are also made of cells.
Just a year later.
Yep. This dinner effectively birthed the first two foundational rules of cell theory.
Which
Char, first, that all living organisms are composed of one or more cells, and second, that the cell is the basic structural and organizational unit of life.
the unified biology,
Mm-hmm.
flora and fauna, mushrooms and mammals, completely integrated under a single universal biological law.
It's beautiful, really.
We finally have a unified theory of the bricks that build the skyscraper. But that immediately creates a massive logical problem.
It does.
If every living thing is made of these structural bricks, where do new bricks come from?
Ah, right.
When an animal heals a wound or a tree grows a new branch, what is the mechanism for generating a new cell?
And this is where Matthias Schleiden, despite his absolute brilliance in identifying the structural reality of plants, he develops a deeply flawed mechanism.
He goes a bit off the rails.
He proposed something called free cell formation.
Which is essentially a bubble theory.
Yeah.
He claimed that new cells just spontaneously crystallized out of the fluid inside older cells, like bubbles forming.
Like they just popped into existence.
Wait, Schleiden literally just proved that plants have rigid, highly structured walls. How does he justify those rigid walls magically bubbling out of nowhere from a fluid?
It sounds absurd now.
It violates basic physics and conservation of mass, doesn't it? So, what does this all mean? How does a scientist who relies on such rigorous microscopic observation suddenly embrace what sounds like spontaneous magic?
This raises an important question about the philosophical baggage that scientists carry with them.
Ah, the baggage?
Right. We tend to view the scientific method as a clean, objective straight line. But Schleiden was operating in a culture still deeply influenced by vitalism.
Vitalism.
Yeah, it was the belief that biological fluids possessed an invisible, life-giving vital force that could organize matter all on its own.
Boy.
Spontaneous generation was a culturally entrenched idea. If you left a piece of meat on a table, maggots just appeared. If you left broth out, it turned cloudy with life.
Because they didn't know about airborne microbes yet.
Exactly. Without an understanding of airborne microbes, the empirical evidence of the era seemed to suggest that life could just spontaneously self-assemble from organic sludge.
So Schleiden's bubble theory wasn't a lapse in logic to him.
Not at all.
It was an attempt to fit his new microscopic observations into the old philosophical framework of vitalism.
Huh?
He was trying to bridge the gap between hard optical evidence and ancient assumptions about life forces.
Precisely. And it required an entirely new generation of researchers to strip away that philosophical baggage and look strictly at the physical mechanisms.
And that correction arrives in 1855.
With another German researcher, Rudolf Virchow.
Virchow looks at Schleiden's bubble theory, he tests it, and he realizes the physical evidence just doesn't support spontaneous crystallization.
No, the math didn't add up.
So he settles the debate with a definitive Latin axiom, omnis cellula e cellula.
All cells come from pre-existing cells.
Virchow physically observes and proves that biological bricks do not magically pop into existence. The only way a new cell is created is through cell division.
An older, living cell physically replicates its internal components and splits into two distinct entities.
One divides into two.
Two divide into four, four into eight. It is a continuous, verifiable, physical chain of events.
No magic required.
None. Virchow's proof of cell division provided the third and final pillar of cell theory. It finally removed the mystical vital force from biology and replaced it with a predictive, mechanical reality.
So when we look back at the timeline, it is this continuous multi-century relay race driven by the pursuit of clearer optics.
Step by step.
Hooke navigates the blurry lenses to find the structural empty boxes.
Right.
He passes the baton to Leeuwenhoek, who manipulates light through a single glass bead to reveal the dynamic swimming animalcules.
Then the science pauses.
Yeah, waiting for industrial glassmakers to solve chromatic aberrations.
And once the achromatic lenses are ready, the baton goes to Schleiden and Schmann, who decode the shared cellular alphabet of all living things.
And finally, Virchow crosses the finish line by proving that this alphabet is passed down strictly through physical cell division.
And the practical application of that timeline is the bedrock of modern human survival.
Literally.
Yeah.
Without the transition from humoral theory to cellular theory, the modern medical infrastructure simply cannot exist.
It would all collapse.
Virology, immunology, the development of vaccines, the entire field of genetics, none of this is possible if we still believe illnesses are caused by bad air or unbalanced fluids.
Right.
Every targeted medical intervention you receive operates on the foundational knowledge that you are a cellular structure, and that intervening at the cellular level is how you cure the organism.
We finally have an accurate map of the territory.
We do.
But there is a secondary implication to Virchow's rule of cell division that I think is one of the most profound concepts in all of science.
Oh, absolutely. Think carefully about omnis cellula e cellula. Every single cell comes from a pre-existing cell.
It demands an unbroken physical sequence.
So look at your hand again. That walking skyscraper of trillions of cells.
Yeah.
Every single cell currently functioning in your hand came from a previous cell dividing. Now, trace that chain of physical division backward.
It goes a long way.
The cells keeping you alive today divided from the cells of your childhood, which divided over and over from the single fertilized cell you were at conception.
But the chain doesn't stop there.
No, it doesn't. That single cell was formed by the living cells of your parents.
Which divided from their parents.
If Virchow's physical law of division is absolute, that means the chain of cellular division stretches backward, uninterrupted, through human history, through early hominids, through mammalian evolution, all the way back through deep time.
A continuous, unbroken lineage of division.
Meaning, the specific living cells operating inside your body at this exact second are the direct physical result of an uninterrupted, continuous line of living division, stretching all the way back to the very first single-celled organisms to ever emerge in the primordial oceans of planet Earth.
That's mind-blowing.
You are physically, cellularly tethered to the dawn of life. Not a bad thing to realize the next time you're just staring at your own hand.
Follow for more science-related podcasts. Like, share, and subscribe.